Welcome to the Hump Day edition of If We Had the Pencil. I'm your host, Sean Green, and with me is my co-host, Matt Jackson. Matt, how you doing today?
Good, man. How you doing? Glad to see
Great.
you made it back from your trip and back to the grind.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm all cleaned up though.
There you go. Yeah,
So,
it was not by his choice, folks. That was because he was going to a
oh,
wedding, and his wife insisted that he looks halfway human.
yeah, I looked human before,
He's a
but
wildebeest.
and because it's a holiday weekend coming up, I have no rant this week. But one thing I am going to tell you. So, Matt and I pass wrestling clips back and forth to each other all the time. And like I've been seeing a lot of one of the things this week was like some of the greatest pops ever. And I'll tell you what, Matt, I was watching some of the Attitude Era stuff. You know what I miss, Matt? Flash photography.
Yeah,
Like I miss it so much. Like when you would see Austin or The Rock or any The Undertaker, and like the arena would get a little darker, and all you see is pop, 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 pop of all the flashes. And I know WWE tries to do it with their strobes. It's just not the same. And then like I got to give a little love to Bray Wyatt too. Um, the fact that he had the wherewithal to kind of capture that, at least with the cell phone flashlights, with the fireflies, I just, it really got me reminiscent. It was like, it's the one aspect of wrestling that I really miss right now. It
it,
was always so cool.
yeah, it was. I love that stuff. It gave it. It's just that old school like dark arena feel. Like right now, it's all about like you said, the lasers, the light show, the pyro. Raw would have it back in the day a little bit, but sometimes it was just 15,000 people screaming, taking pictures, holding signs up. Um, it was wild. I don't know if you
They,
wanted to talk about a couple of your favorites real quick. Can I talk a couple of mine?
I mean, won't belabor this point. It was just me feeling nostalgic, but like, I did see a cool one though today actually, and it was an intro for Kurt Angle. And I don't remember what it was. It was like SummerSlam or something like that. And he came out and they had pyro right as it came out. He had the title at the time. And then they had like when he got in the ring and he did his twirly thing, they had all the fireworks going off like in the upper ring.
Yeah,
It was really kind of cool. And like I love entrances like that. We're going to talk about entrances a little later too when we get to it. So,
cool beans. But real quick, I love the pop Edge got back in 20 at the Royal Rumble. That was pretty mind blowing because we were on the phone together and we both popped and like couldn't
yeah.
believe how loud the audience was. So maybe just because it was something you and I were talking about
That's
and
that's one
experience.
That's one thing when I was going through it. Everybody's gonna have their favorite pop, right? But like that was one thing I noticed when we were going through it, in the time that we've known each other and we've been watching wrestling, disaggregated or whatever. Like it was noticeable that there was a handful of big pops, and I'm like, oh yeah, we were always going back and forth about this. It was just kind of cool.
Yeah, it was definitely was. Yeah, we had some cool dialogue on text. Well, when you sent that to me, so that's cool. All
Yeah,
right, so no rant this week. Sean's in a good mood.
I'm in a
Sean's
great mood.
he's always in a good mood, but
That's
actually,
what
I
I'm
don't.
called for.
They didn't really give us much to rant about this week, honestly, as we're going to cover the two shows and then talk about some future things here. But I mean, I don't have.
Definitely, definitely a week of really solid in-ring work.
Yes,
Really solid in-ring work. I was real happy with all of it.
and a lot of stuff too. The promos were hot. The backstage segments were really good and believable. So, a lot of little nuggets in these last two shows. So, like, I have more notes than normal, just so my old memory can get kind of regenerated
Oh,
here.
that's good news because, as Matt said earlier, I was traveling, so yes, I saw everything, but my normal note-taking routine was at a loss. So I have a couple of hasty notes, but nothing super in depth. So let's just get to it, man. So we kicked off SmackDown. Fatu, Solo, and JC Matteo comes out, and they're doing their thing. Uh, you know, it the biggest takeaway out of that is the breakup is going to happen fairly soon. Like, I don't know when. It's obvious Jacob's a face, and it's obvious that Solo's a heel, and he's moved on, and he has his rebound chick right now, and that's JC Matteo.
Yes, 100%. Like we talked in the pregame here, one thing we noticed and we've been talking about is lately, and you've heard it on the podcast, folks, is that they've been using Fatu's music when he and Solo come out. They played Solo's music on SmackDown. Now, at first I was a little curious about it, but then it made sense because Solo was the first one to be talking. I guess they want to let it know that it was Solo's segment. A couple things that I noticed that Sean probably didn't notice as much just because of the fact he was exhausted because he was talking to me like how tired he was when he watched it over the weekend. It took you 2 days to watch SmackDown. Actually, you had to break it up over a couple of segments. So um, last week we talked about sponsors. Sean was like dressing like he was the right rear tire changer last week for the number one Bush car that had a good run Sunday night. So we're happy about that. Anyway, no sponsors in the ring. Not on the turnbuckles, not on the canvas itself, just the WWE logo. Nice touch. So whoever from WWE headquarters is like, listen to this podcast. We appreciate the follow through on our suggestions. Not that we don't mind sponsors, but don't let it dominate the ring. Anyway, uh, while Solo was talking, he was trying to make a point, and I forget what point it is because I'm old. But the fans started with a raucous Fatu chant. By the way, both crowds, both shows, fantastic. Greensboro, North Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, those are longtime wrestling hotbeds. I expected a good crowd. They were both great crowds into everything. Started just chanting for Fatu. And I noticed that we know Solo's a heel, but he looked like it was visibly annoyed, like it personally bothered him, like because I think it messed up his rhythm or his cadence of his promo, and I think it got him upset. But he could also just be playing his character, and we're starting to see stuff come out. So, well, I'll go 50-50 right in the middle. It could be either way. Um, Solo started saying Fatu's lines. The no gas, no brakes, and Fatu put a quick stop to that, grabbed the mic, and proceeded to dominate the rest of the segment. And I have to say, Fatu is good on the mic. I wouldn't say he's great on the mic, but I think with his character and his vocal tone and his cadence, I think it works for him because he's kind of crazy. He's not going to speak real eloquent, folks, if he's trying to play like a crazy Samoan guy, which he is. So it fits. It fits him. He doesn't have to be great on the mic. He has to be what fits with his character. So I like that. And then Sean and I would talk about this right before we went on air. Um, every time you saw Fatu on TV months ago, it was "I love you, Solo. I love you, Solo." Until what happened? Until Solo lost to Eufaula, and then that it went away. And I think the writers at WWE did a great job of putting it away, without a lot of people going like, "Why doesn't Fatu say I love you to Solo anymore?" You don't hear anything on the dreaded IWC or podcast talking about it. And what happened? Who brings it back? Solo. Hey, why don't you say, you used to say something all the time. I love you, Solo. And let me hear it. And Fatu begrudgingly says it, but he doesn't expound like he used to. Like, I mean, he used to prophetize, I love you, Solo. You could hear it in the back row without a mic. So I thought that was a good segment. And then LA Knight came in and interrupted just as we were teasing a little bit more friction between. So it was really well done, and
Yeah,
it led to the match with JC Matteo later on that show.
I think
What
it's
did you
important.
think?
So I think it's important to talk about that "I love you" Solo stuff, and I think that like one of the biggest things of that is I think we were just get to your point, like Fatu's good on the mic. He is really good on the mic. So the fact that you just had him like a Neanderthal, just like "I love you, Solo," and like often, whatever. I think, you know, it when they realize like, hey, it's time to uncork this dude and let him do what he does. Because, in my opinion, out of the three of them, well, I haven't heard Mateo talk, so give it time. But like, I between them all, he's the best on the mic, and gets you to buy in really quick. The LA Knight interference makes sense. Got it. Nothing earth shattering. I like that he kind of did the little bitch pop, like came in, got a shot, and ran off. I appreciate that. It's a heel thing, but like I still appreciate it. Like, yeah, screw you, pop. Well, you got the numbers. I'm out. So like, you
Well,
know,
kind of like Austin used to come in and just kick, wham, stunner people and leave the ring, and flip them off and drink beer the whole way. So, and that got over with the fans. So, and Knight always plays heelish anyway because he's that cocky character. So
yeah,
it works good. It's yeah, fans like it. Keep it going.
I like Knight, but you know, so after that we got Alexa Bliss, Mi Chen, and Chelsea Green, and all right, minor pet peeve, minor gripe here. Do we have to call it a Sister Abigail DDT? Can we just call it the Sister Abigail? For years, years, we have always called it the Sister Abigail. Why did we have to add DDT at the end of it? We know it's a DDT. We don't give a shit. It's a Sister Abigail. Just call it that.
Yeah, it's almost. I guess it's a DDT, but almost looks like It's almost like a front slam, a reverse slam. So, but still, yeah, Sister Abigail is fine. It's like that's what everybody calls it.
Yes.
That's what I call it. Like, oh, Sister Abigail.
It's like she's doing the Sister Abigail, and I picked up on it. Like the announcers were like Sister Abigail DDT, and then when I was doing show notes for today, getting the recaps, making sure I didn't miss anything like I did last week, I was like, they had it written out on the WWE site. It's like Sister Abigail DDT, and it's like, just call it a Sister Abigail. Look, it was a
Maybe
good match. It
maybe
did
it was
what
for
it
Jake Roberts to get some royalties off the name of the move. I don't know.
no, he's going to come back out for Saturday night's main event, so we got to give him a little love so he can say the word DDT. Like, I don't know. It was a good match. You know what? Mi Chen's kind of come a long way too, and we all know where Chelsea Green stands here, so let Chelsea Green do Chelsea Green things. But yeah, I mean, solid match. It's good to see Bliss getting back into the mix and not getting force fed. That's the other thing I really like about Alexa Bliss's comeback. It's like they're kind of doing a good job pacing it and just being like, "We know you want it, but we're gonna give you little dinks and dunks." And then I really do hope that they get her tied in with the Wyatt Six and really start opening that can of worms because there's a lot of good stuff that could come with the Wyatt Six, and I think they need to bring it in soon.
Absolutely. And then a couple of quick notes I had was there's a lot of bit where Alexa mentioned would team up to get eliminate Chelsea, and every time a Chelsea tried to come in, they kick her back out again, which then Chelsea, I think she said some line about tariffs or something like that, or
She
that was
did.
at the
It
yeah.
might have been before, but yeah, she was.
Or was it last week? Was it the week before or something? But I don't know. She was definitely screaming out her policies. I guess we'll call them. But she's a blast to watch. And then yeah, actually the end was awesome. The way she went from that twisted bliss and then right into Sister Abigail. Um, I would expect some ring rust for Bliss. Like I know that they're at the performance center working out, and I know they do that, but it's not the same as when the lights are on and the arena's full. And Alexa looks like she has like no ring rust. Everything looks crisp
No,
and smooth.
she's nice and crisp, and she's been gone a hot minute. I mean, she had her kid and all that stuff, so like,
Yeah,
credit to her for like coming back and looking good. I mean, you know, we're still in multi-person matches. I'll be interested to see her in a one-on-one at some point. To really see. That's really the metric that you got to use. Because you can kind of get a break. Not blow yourself up and get some rest. So, but yeah, all in all, good match. Glad to see Alexa Bliss being something. I need some story out of her now. Like, yay. Let's and I think WWE is doing that. I
well,
think
they're teasing that
WWE
with
is.
her and Charlotte right now. So we talk about real quick, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but we talk about bringing the Wyatt Six back. Bliss trying to reach out to Charlotte and Charlotte punking off Alexa Bliss. Could that be a? It doesn't make sense to me, but could they use that as a possible launch point for the Wyatt Six? Because the rest of them are dudes, and so it doesn't make
Well,
sense.
they got
But
one chick.
oh yeah, that's right,
Yeah, they got one.
that's right. So
But
they got one. But even so, it's like
Nikki Cross.
I'm just trying to figure out what they're doing with Alexa and Charlotte. It's a little confusing to me.
They teased it, but I don't think it's gone anywhere yet. I do think storyline wise, they're trying to get past the euphoria of Alexa Bliss being back and get past that. And when fans start, kind of petering out a little bit, they're always going to get excited for her. She's just one of those wrestlers. But I think once they get past that initial euphoria stage and get into like the weekly grind, it's not a daily grind, but you get my point. Once we get past that, then we're gonna start getting some story out of Bliss because like right now the story is just she came back, so woohoo, and that's great. But let's move, let's get her involved in a storyline. Let's start doing some long term storytelling because they
An
need it.
Alexa Bliss Charlotte Flair match would definitely draw some interest for sure and keep her. So, yeah, I guess that's probably what they're just doing. As simple as that. I was overthinking it, Sean.
That's all right. So after that, we got Fraxiom versus DIY. And look, I, I'm again, we are huge R-Truth fans here. Like R-Truth is a national treasure and must always be protected. And I don't know why this popped in, probably because DIY had a ladder match or something like that. So I saw a clip this week of R-Truth coming in and it was a Royal Rumble match. He drags a ladder into the middle of the ring, walks up the ladder thinking it's a Money in the Bank match, which is right around the corner.
Yeah, and
But like,
he's
I thought about it because DIY was in that epic like tables, ladders, and chairs match. So like, for some reason, like instantaneously, this image of R-Truth dragging a ladder in and everybody watching him like, "What are you doing, bro?" He gets to the top of the ladder. He's like, Where's the suitcase?" So, but it was Fraxium and DIY, and look, the rich get richer. I said it last week. I'll keep on saying it. Fraxium's really good, and like they're this just the hair off of the talent level of the other tag teams on SmackDown, but Fraxium's really good, and I think they're just going to get better. And the tag division on SmackDown is epic.
yeah, and I agree. I think the match was fantastic with DIY. First of all, Ciampa like going in the front row. That was kind of cool because usually when they get tossed over the barrier, they're in that open area with all security off. And I'm sure that where he was thrown off was a planted area. It was designed, but I thought that was a cool spot. And then the rest of my notes are like these teams work so well together. It's a spot fest, but in a great way. Like this is so effing good. Super finish. That's the
Yeah,
rest of my notes from Fraxium and DIY. And here's the thing, like I want to be honest and take notes so I can remember stuff, but then the fan part takes over and I just like my notebook goes down, the cell phone goes away and I'm just like fixated on what's on the TV cuz guess what? I'm being entertained. So,
yeah. No, it happens to me too. So like usually when I'm taking notes and I'm watching like one of the shows, I have my tablet on my lap and I have split screen. So I have my one note on one side, and then I have your uh, text messages on the other, so I can text between you and take notes. And a lot of the times, like I'll hit certain matches and I'll just be like, "This is so good," and I'll watch. I'll be like, there was a really cool spot. This is so really good. And they've been doing that a lot on the TV shows. And I think that that's important, right? Like, look, you don't always have to have the title on the line for it to matter, but it's important that, like, they're putting on great matches. And that tag division is so freaking good and talented. And now that you've added Fraxium in there, you're like, well, crap. They're just that good. Whereas, like, you got New Day and War Raiders on the other side, and it's like they're good, but they don't excite me. And these four tag teams, are really good. And it's I'll be interested to see when the Lucha Bros thing finally happens and we get Ray Phoenix and Penta back together. And I'll be interested really to see like where they put them, right? I kind of want them to put them on SmackDown so I can watch them against, because like War Raiders are a unique team, right? They're
yeah.
bigger, they're bulkier, they can move, but like the believability, like I think that's part of it with SmackDown right now with those tag divisions. Everybody's kind of right sized, if that makes sense. Like this isn't like the natural disasters versus like, like uh from Alpha Academy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
two
who's
Tozawas. Yeah,
yeah, like two Tazawas versus the natural disasters. We don't have that, you know. So like, I think that's part of it. Like they're all right sized, so they all kind of groove together. Whereas like when you watch War Raiders versus certain teams or certain people, you're kind of like, how are they going to get over on this? It's like anybody in the female division that wrestles Nia Jax, right? Like Nia Jax is bigger. And like if you see her against who was her sidekick? The Poison Pixie. If you watch
Candice LeRae.
Candice LeRae. So like you watch her against Candice LeRae, you're like, uh yeah, I don't see how this goes good for Candice, right? Because naturally, seeing is believing. So I think the equality in size and talent levels, obviously, but like, man, that tag division just complements each other so freaking well.
Oh, they could do a whole SmackDown episode with just the tag team division, and I would enjoy it. It would be. I wouldn't do it every week, but I mean, it would be good stuff. Um, we talked offline about this. I think if you get the Lucha Bros together and you put them on Raw, I said another team I would recommend bringing to Raw and giving a shot because they're really good, but they get kind of meddled in the mix. Is pretty deadly. So, and I think it would match up with good with Judgment Day, with
They're
with the New
underutilized
Day.
right now because
Yeah,
like right now you got the big four, you got Street Profits, you got everybody in that match, right? Street Profits, DIY, um,
Motor City Machine
Motor
Gun.
City Machine Guns, and now you got Fraxiom. So like, yeah, Pretty Deadly's kind of on the
Oh,
outside looking
and then
in.
you got that other team with Angel and
Yeah,
but
there's
they're
a whole
breaking up.
separate story. There,
Yeah,
yeah, there's a whole separate story
plus yeah.
there. So,
But for a hot
but
minute, they were a big part of it. So
yeah, all right. So after that, we got an R-Truth segment. R-Truth has got boo-boo faced hurt feelings because he got put through a table after Backlash, and his favorite person, he's gonna beat his ass to remind him, who he is. Now, again, R-Truth is a national treasure, but this, Matt, this is one time. I need to see Cena destroy R-Truth. That is not the main event. Keep in mind, Jey Uso and Logan Paul is the main event for Saturday night's main event. So that means that Cena R-Truth match is not being billed at the top of the card. So that means we can. I don't necessarily want to squash because I want R-Truth to get some stuff in,
yeah,
and I think Cena kind of aligned that
the end
match.
the end result has to be
Yeah. Well, we talked about it last week, right? So Bronson Reed, how did we make Bronson Reed look like a monster? He just did his finisher like 6 million times on people, and then you were like, okay, cool, we get it. You're a bad dude. And I think we need that from Cena. Like Cena needs to just crack him in the head with the belt, do everything and anything to just destroy that dude to the point where, people are kind of like, I think he's had enough. And then you do it some more, and then, and when the crowd starts chanting one more time, you're just like, ah, I'm out. So, R-Truth's doing good work. He dropped a country song apparently, and like the guy is just he's so freaking entertaining. Like he puts the E in WWE. Like last week we said the Y is the W. Well, guess what? R-Truth is putting the E as in entertaining.
oh
I
yeah.
just love the dude, man. He makes me laugh every time. And seeing some of his highlights, like stupid stuff, like backstage eating Cody's shrimp when he got powdered sugar all over the Judgment Day's clubhouse, and just little stupid stuff. And like, it's interesting that he kind of took a serious tone in his promo, like his interview for this leading up to that with Wade Barrett. By the way, good job by Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
He's really he's on a hot streak right now. I think he's doing some good stuff. So yeah, a worthwhile segment. It set up the match. I did see a little bit of griping about it. They're like, you're wasting it. It's like Cena
No,
is going to wrestle who Cena wants to wrestle, and Cena wants to put certain guys over. And he, on his farewell tour, I don't think any of us, as soon as they were like, it's R-Truth and John Cena, all of us were like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
You know,
couple of points. I think R-Truth deserves a big moment on the national spotlight on national TV. I mean,
yes.
why he doesn't have his own TV show or parts in movies or something like he's just too. I mean, now I guess he can sing. I know he can rap. I know he can wrestle, and he's a great athlete too. And he's no spring chicken either. So we don't know
Well,
how
he's
much
in
long.
his 50s.
I know he's like, yeah, I think he's older than Ray. So I mean, like he's incredible. If I was to write the match or book the match with Cena R-Truth, so R-Truth, of course he's going to be the massive underdog baby face, right? So he's already like no one's expecting it. But his childhood idol is John Cena. He knows all of John Cena's moves because he's done them like multiple times in the ring. Obviously, because he idolizes John Cena so much, he probably knows every trick in John's book. That's why John has to retort to really dirty tactics because the straight up old Cena, R-Truth could figure out. So Cena's got to change that. That I got that from when he said in the interview, like my favorite person is the John Cena, but the guy I'm fighting Saturday night is not the John
Not
Cena.
John Cena.
It's not John Cena. So I think I wouldn't make it be a squash, but what I would do, the end result, the end state, would just be Cena destroy, like you said, just destroy R-Truth. But I would make it competitive because straight up, I think R-Truth like knows Cena because he idolizes him so much. And then Cena figures it out, and then he just starts going into like, you know, ball shots and foreign objects and, cheating.
So, one thing I don't want to see, and I think it's a little too soon, I think SummerSlam's in August. So, beginning of August, yeah. So, I,
Second and third, I think.
yep. So, what I don't want to see is I don't want R-Truth getting his ass whooped using, R-Truth going out there having fun doing the you don't see me and all the other John Cena-esque moves and dropping AAs and stuff. What I don't want is Cena to, because we kind of got a hint of that at Backlash where he was like, is he regretting himself? No, I want him to come out and I want him to utterly destroy R-Truth. And then after he does that, I do not want the self-loathing and pity party yet. That has to come later. It has to come closer. Yes, you have to do a build for that, so probably early July timeframe. Like then you can start doing the John Cena pity party. I'm going to flip to a face thing, but you need a
That
good
should be
catalyst.
the Saudi show, right? July is the Saudi show, or the end of June.
Yeah, Saudi's in there. So we're in that 3 week cycle, right? So we get Saturday Night Main Event. June 7th is Money in the Bank. So we're going to start ramping up quick, but I just don't want to see that because like they're already so they kind of showed chinks in the armor, and then it was like, I'm not ready for that yet. Like if you're going to do a heel run, do a damn heel run. So run with it. So all right, so let's move on. Aleister Black and Carmelo Hayes. So just like the Fraxiom DIY stuff, it's just a fun match to watch. Like, the Miz's interference makes sense. Aleister Black is kind of establishing himself. I think one thing I don't have in my notes is Shinsuke Nakamura cutting a promo in there where he starts talking about Aleister Black. He starts talking about LA Knight. He's like, I know you. I got you guys all figured out. So, and always, I really like this with the Japanese wrestlers, especially them doing the subtitled, pre recorded promos because we really get invested in them, right?
Yep.
And it's no offense to them when they're in the ring and they cut a promo. And yes, it's intriguing, but it's in broken English and like it gets distracting. Their messages are way better Like they started doing it with Asuka before she, got hurt, and they started doing it with Shinsuke Nakamura. Bro, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. It's solid. It's good, and just roll with it, man.
Yeah, and I really hope they do right by Shinsuke because it seems like they throw him that championship win and then he loses it like right away. It's like it seems like they want to try something but they don't know what to do with him. But he's like so good, so I don't know where you fit
So
the Shinsuke piece into the big WWE puzzle.
this is where the real life thing kind of factors in, right? This is where the inside baseball stuff. I think he lost his title right before they went on their European tour. So WWE wanted those mega pops from the European crowds when LA Knight would come out, looks better with the title. It is what it is. Sometimes you got to play the terrain, right? And but Shinsuke's awesome. So we're just going to appreciate that and he'll get his. I have no doubt in my mind, and it's really kind of painting the picture now. It's like for that title, it's Shinsuke, it's LA Knight, it's Jacob Fatu, it's kind of The Miz, but it's also Carmelo Hayes. So like, there's a lot of good talent in there that you're gonna get mix and match matches, and it's gonna be good stuff. And that U.S. title is gonna get elevated by that.
You know what else it's going to do? Because right now, from now until December 13th or whenever John Cena's last match in Boston is, whoever Cena's going to face, he's going to face. But starting next year, it's a new ball game with the cinema title or whatever they do. So this is a good way with all these guys chasing that U.S. title to kind of look and say, hey, maybe this guy and this guy might be ready to kind of take that next step up and start getting some either, if not hold the world title, but world title opportunities, give them a shot. So I think it's great how they're using the IC and the U.S. titles because and I'm going to talk a little. I have notes from Monday's show that I want to talk more about with multiple contenders for titles because I think it's great that we're seeing it again. But I want to get a little bit
Yeah,
down that
well,
later.
using those titles for what they was the launching pad, right? And that's what they need to get back to. So, all right. So we got promos. Drew McIntyre accepts Damien Priest's steel cage match at Saturday night's main event. Cool. That's a good burn off for that rivalry.
Yeah, yeah, Drew's getting cheered though. So if they're,
Truth sayer. Truth sayer.
I know that's what I'm saying. The more stuff he says that's true, the more the fans get behind him. And I mean, I'm a heel guy. I always like the
I know
heels,
you are.
but like some of the faces act like heels. So now it's different now. But I prefer heels because I just think they're way more entertaining. But yeah, I hope Drew goes over at the end of that feud as well.
I hope so too. And it's no knock on Priest.
No,
Priest is
same
really
here.
good. But I think Drew is on a half notch above Priest right now. And I think there's a lot of
Exactly.
good stuff that Drew can do. And you can do a lot storyline wise with Drew. So there's a lot of ways that you can go. So after that, we get that match that came out of the whole kerfuffle in the beginning. So we get JC Matteo and LA Knight. Okay, look, one minor gripe on this. Does LA Knight have to be the jobber? He is the weirdest, most over jobber from time to time that I have ever seen in my life. Like, the guy's over with the crowd, the guy's in the title picture, but yet, like, every now and again, it's always like, okay, you're going to job out to the new guy. And it's like, why? But it was a good match.
I wasn't
Uh,
impressed with Mateo.
I give it time.
Yeah,
Give it time. He's got a lot of good stuff out there. Like, I've seen clips of it. We just got to see it mature, right? Like this is his first match in WWE. Like let it go, you
but
know.
JC did have a really cool standing moonsault for a big guy. That was impressive.
Yeah,
But
it was.
yeah, I wrote it in notes, so he must have done a lot of stuff. But LA Knight, I just put he's so athletic, and he's not a young guy either. He's in his 40s, and just some of the stuff he
I
does.
think he's my age.
Yeah, and he's a big dude. Like he's like barrel chest. He's a wide guy, but he's just he kind of at times moves like a cruiserweight or real
Yeah.
impressive. And then of course we ended up with some. A lot of tension at the end of that whole segment because Solo was hugging up on JC Matteo and kind of pushing
Well, Fatu got
Fatu.
involved though, so
He
like
did.
they are playing the will they won't they card, kind of
Which
like
leads
what
back
they've
to
been
my
doing with
point why it's going to
Judgment
be
Day.
Solo pushing Fatu away because Fatu's still he's still a team player, but at some point I think that's why I think Solo's going to push Fatu.
Yep. And then we get
Oh, you missed the match. Solo versus Jimmy versus Phoenix. That was a Money in the Bank
uh
qualifier
yep, I
with
did.
your travels. It was solid action. Solo went over. It made sense. There was a spot where Solo got caught in the ropes and flipped over, and I thought Solo might have broke his wrist because he was outside for a while, but I think he was fine. But uh, you saw Fatu come running over real quick to check on it. Because then, yeah, uh, I think there was a ref botch. I thought, but then it wasn't. But that's when LA Knight came in, he went crazy, and that's what generated the match between him and JC. Which that little segment where LA Knight just starts going willy nilly, like beating the tar out of everybody, like was wildly entertaining. I mean, this
Yes, it
show,
was.
everything on this show either got an A or a B. This was like a really good show.
I agree.
We're not even done yet. So, I mean, that
No,
match did what it did. It added still more tension. What I liked is how they went from that match right into like more I guess blood. I don't know. Do we still call it bloodline? Is it quasi bloodline or the
I
dynasty?
don't know. I'll think of something for
All
it, like
right,
the alternate bloodline,
there
or
we
you
go.
know.
But then it went right, boom, right into that JC and LA Knight. So you not only did you have another person from that team, from headed by Solo or Fatu, but then you also had Fatu. Everybody, all three guys were out there for both segments. So you got to see him out there a lot, and it helped to play in the continuing tension that, excuse me, we're going to see more and more of as the weeks go on that family. So I thought it was just cool that the way they put it, they didn't put a break between it. Went right from that to the JCLA night. So it was like one big long segment. It was really good.
Yep. And then we closed out the show with Stratton and Jax. Look, Stratton, the more I see her, the more I like her, the more she's improving. And then Jax probably had one of her best. She works well with Stratton. Like, there's no denying that. And, like, yeah, it was a good match, but give me your notes and then we'll talk about the elephant in the room in the ending.
Sure. Well, I didn't have a lot. I put, there's some high drama that was playing out really good between Tiffy and Naya. Like they played up the dislike really good. You said about Tiffy improving. I love the fact now, like she's gotten a little edgier to her.
Yes.
Like she has a mean streak now. She's just not the glamour girl that bedazzles all her titles and outfits. She wants to look like a cute thing, but yet she'll get down in the dirt and the mud and the blood and the beer and fight her way too. I thought she did a great job in that match, adjusting from her natural style to work with Naya. And I think Naya actually like elevated her style to kind of bring it up towards Tiffy. So there was a really good meet in the middle in that match. And I'm not the biggest Naya fan, and it's nothing personal. I don't find her to be a great wrestler, but I think that, like you said, last Friday was one of her better matches. That's really all the notes I have, except for the elephant in the room that we're going to discuss.
Actually, what's weird, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the elephant in the room did not get mentioned by the announcers, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe on the outro, but like there wasn't much mention of like, oh my god, she's busted open. So, here's the deal. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It was a good match. At the very end of the match, Nia has a chair, Tiffy kicks it into her face. Nia gets busted open. So,
Not
props.
as not as scratch either. I mean,
No, no,
it was instant.
gosh.
She was yeah, it was a good one.
It was a good runner. So, props to Busted Open, props to Bully Ray who broke this down. And basically, there was a couple of faux pas on Nia Jax's part. This was not on Tiffany, it was on Nia. So the quick down and dirty is the chair was facing the wrong way and it was too far out, right? So she ate the chair and she got busted open. It's important to realize that this stuff is going to happen, but it's also like if you have not heard Bully Ray talk about like why, and like he breaks it down like to the nitty gritty of the why you put the chair, here, there, and everywhere, and how you properly do it. And then if you check his X account, they did post video of him and RVD back in the day, like doing a chair thing, and shows you how to properly do it, and then contrast that to what Nia Jax did. So, I, it's worth talking about because they are risking themselves when they do these things, but you also got to kind of be like, hey, you need to do this right or you're going to get hurt. In
Yeah.
this case, she got hurt.
Well, she learned a valuable lesson, but kudos to Naya because she didn't panic. She took the shot. I mean, she had to know she was busted because the ref was right there, so she must have communicated to the ref she was all right. A little more obvious than normal, rolling into position for the prettiest moonsault, but given the conditions, she never like panicked. I mean, they were going home anyway because I think the chair shot happened like what 2 minutes before end credits. So
Yeah,
they were
so
going. That was part of the whole finishing segment right there.
LaGreca kind of pointed that out too. He was like, I'm busted open. He was saying that like they might have rushed it a little bit because they were up against the clock, which I wish USA and Netflix really isn't a problem, but I wish USA would just be like, if you go a couple minutes over, you go a couple minutes over. Like we don't need that hard out because like I don't need to rush in to watch Resident Alien or whatever the hell show, Bel Air, Burn Notice. I don't care. Like just let me see the end of the show and then you can go into whatever like Law and Order SVU season 100 episode 32 that you want to show. It like just give me the end of the show where it's supposed to end and don't rush to the
I
wrestlers.
still think though that was the plan finish. I think Nia was going to eat the chair, roll in the ring. That was a setup for her doing the moonsault. She just happened to get busted open. So I understand LaGreca's point, but I actually looked up at what time it was because I'm like, man, we're getting near the end. And when she got
Yeah,
kicked in the
I
face
did
with the
too.
chair, it was I'm on Central Time. It was 9:58. So I mean, the match that happened. The moonsault pinned, and within 30 seconds they were rolling the credits and they were out at the top of the hour. So I think it was just a planned finish, and she just ate a chair. Hey, who probably in WWE who hasn't? So
Yeah, that's fair.
maybe
Cool.
that's
So
payback for breaking Becky Lynch's face and stuff a few years ago.
right,
Karma, karma.
karma,
But
karma
no,
coming around.
good show though. Thumbs up on SmackDown. Much better than the week before, which we kind of poo-pooed on a little bit in our last podcast, but this show definitely
It
on
was
the right
solid.
track. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to Raw. All right, and all this is leading up, of course, to Saturday night's main event. So it's coming. So we're going to talk about that as well. All right, so Raw kicked off. Logan Paul comes out. He does Logan Paul things. Gunther comes out, talks. One of the biggest takeaways I had, first off, Logan Paul's getting better, and it's weird to say that about somebody that talks podcasting and everything else. He's getting better on the mic, like cutting promos. All right,
I
so
think
like
it's
they have
one.
like
I
a
think it's
section.
one thing to host a podcast, but there's another thing to get up in front of tens of thousands of people and try to get them to get a reaction. Like so, yeah,
He's
he's gotten much better. He's really good at that. He's good at inciting the fans to hate him.
yeah, he does, and I've noticed that he's enhanced his repertoire, so to speak. So like he was doing cookie cutter out of WWE 2K25, like
I'm great. I'm rich. I'm a
promos.
star. You're not. You all suck.
I'm
Yeah.
awesome. I'm awesome. Your sports team sucks. You're a city of losers. Like he would go to all the canned, cliched answers where you feel like you're playing a video game and you're just like, what do you want your response to be? Well, I want to be hated here. And now it's getting a little more robust. Gunther coming out, like, I know you and I talk about this a lot with Gunther, right? Like, we both kind of like him in ring. I need something from Gunther, man. Like what he was going for, it was like I don't think the crowd fully like let him kind of go where he wanted to go, but like I kind of need I don't know how to explain it. I need a little something something from Gunther, like something to hang my hat on with him. this is going back to the WWE 2K25 or whatever video game you want to select, right? Gunther's starting to feel like I made this monster character, he wins titles, but there's not a lot of substance there. And I need a little more from him.
I thought he was good on the promo because he started fact checking Logan Paul. Kind of got like was backhand. He was complimenting Logan Paul. So the whole time and if you know Gunther, like at some point he's going to drop the hammer and tell the real truth. And he did. I thought he played it really well because he kept fact this, fact that, and the fans are just like, man, why is he siding with Logan Paul? Then all of a sudden calls Paul a non-wrestler, tells him how
Yeah.
how important wrestling is to Gunther. Gunther shows how passionate he is, which is pretty cool to still do it while being a heel without looking like a total babyface because he doesn't, because he reverts right back to it. I thought it was really good. The pot, when Jay comes in with the super kick was a cool spot.
That pop, dude. That pop when Jay showed up, it was like,
Yeah,
wow. So Jay's getting like mega pops. And, like he's over. Like I get it. And like there's still a lot of people that crap on him. There's a lot of people that don't like him on the mic. I think he can get better on the mic. But like a lot of people crap on him and it's like the dude's over. Embrace it. Let's let him refine his craft as he comes up. You know what I mean? We know he's not going to hold the title for a year. There's no effing way. There's too much story to be told, especially with the whole Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman thing.
he's a
But like,
transitional. He's a transitional champion. That's what they used to call him in
he
the old
is.
days. He's a transition guy. He's that bridge between the last long term and then the next big name or long term. But I think he's doing great, and the fans love him. And when he does lose the title, I hope the fans don't. I don't think the fans will still love him because he's always going to be around that picture anyway. But yeah, I thought the whole segment was good. I thought Gunther like was actually one of his better promos Monday night because it felt more how it felt, and it has that edge. Like I'm thinking, Gunther has his full confidence back. Like if there's any questions about that loss of confidence he had 6 months ago, yeah, that's gone. Like Gunther's back to the ass kicking, take no prisoners, show no regrets, Gunther, and that's
Well,
the Gunther I want to see.
I think the challenge that they have right now, and they're walking a tightrope, and I think this will all get kind of refined like after Saturday, is I, I don't know if you picked up on it. They're promoting both, right? They're promoting both Saturday night's main event and Money in the Bank, and it's very pertinent to the WWE, the heavyweight championship. So like they're kind of like, all right, we're racking and stacking because again, we're on this 3 week cycle right now for PLEs, right? So they're like, okay, we're gonna stack, 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 But especially with this is gonna sound, this is the real life thing again, right? With that Saudi show in there, Jay's holding that title through that Saudi show, or at least going into that Saudi show.
Yeah,
He can lose it there, but he's holding that title until they get into the Saudi show because, oh no, no, he would have to wrestle Cena. So maybe they do pull the trigger. Or, or is it Crown Jewel? It's Crown Jewel, right?
I can't remember.
Or is
Yes,
this the Australia one?
there's one in Perth. What's the one where they have like? Yeah,
There's one in Perth and there's one in Saudi, but the Saudi one,
I remember Crown Jewel being after SummerSlam last year. I want
that's
to
what
say
I thought. It's
I thought it
October.
was like something like that. It was early fall. See,
That's what
folks,
I
like
thought.
see, we're old and we should be better.
Well, no,
I
no,
don't know.
I no because I started thinking about it because I'm like, well, when you go into now because of what they did with the Saudi with Crown Jewel last year, it's
Yep.
champion versus champion for both men's and women's because they get that overgloss belt, they get the championship ring and all that
But
crap
wait a
now
minute. I
for them.
thought that when you win that, you like Cody beat Gunther last year. I thought that makes Cody the champion. So I thought he then has to defend it next year, like against somebody. Or
No,
is that not the?
champion versus champion.
Okay. All right. So it resets the slate
And
every
I don't
time.
think you're busting out with the Jey Uso John Cena thing. That's why I
No.
was bringing it up. So like it's interesting because if it was a Saudi show, then I see Jay losing it beforehand. If it's Perth, which, folks, if you know, drop it in the comments. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if it's Perth, then Jay might just have it going in, and then he can lose after the fact. They're going to want him to come in, yeeting it up, title in hand. So we'll have to kind of look at. I think this one's Perth though.
I think you're right.
I think the crown jewel in Riyadh or whatever is
Yeah.
in
And
October.
and then they're going back to France in the summertime for something. So
That's fine.
I can't
Take
keep
it.
up with them. Like so they're cutting house shows like in half or more, but
It's
yet
because they're too busy traveling for PLEs.
freaking 38 PLEs in a 52-week year. It seems like. And I'm including Saturday Night Main Event too. That's pretty much a PLE.
It's PLE light.
It's a Saturday night show.
Yep. So let's move on.
All
So
right.
after that, we get Finn Balor, JD McDonough, AJ Styles, and Penta all going head to head in a tag match. And bro, they're enhancing Penta's entrance, and Penta's entrance is so effing good.
What did I text
Like,
you when Penta came out Monday night? What did I say
oh, it
about
was.
his pyro? I'm like,
Oh
see
yeah,
that
it
new
was.
pyro? Yeah.
Yep, they're doing it up, man, for him. And like the IWC out there just continues to hammer like, Penta's being man, they're making that guy over on top of over. Like you don't get pyro in WWE unless you're really effing cool, and he's really effing cool, and he's really good, and he's fun to watch, and everything, and then some. But it was a good match, and for the love of God, can the El Grande Americano crap wrap up? Because here's where it's getting a little annoying. It's the same shit every week, right? He comes in, he headbutts somebody with the steel plate. Like, all right, we're getting a little ridiculous with this now. Like, change it up, get original angles, or let's just have this mask versus mask so we can all find out and have our Scooby Doo mystery tour and be like, it was Chad Gable the whole time. That's all I want. Like, let's get that over with.
Or at least
Because
get
honestly,
Penta a Kevlar mask or something that can resist El Grande's loaded mask.
so it took away from a really good
I,
match.
that was my notes. There's too much interference, and especially El Grande's took away the Judgment Day stuff. Not so much, but once El Grande came in, it like first of all it makes the Judgment Day look weak. Like they're standing ringside, Carlito and all that. But why would they need El Grande? It just makes them look
Yeah,
like they can't handle each
that's
other. So it was kind of bullshit booking, I thought. Like
yeah, it was lazy booking. It was like it's it almost felt like, oh my God, we're reminding you that like El Grande Americano is the thing, and it's just like,
that was the
bro,
wrong place to put it. Wrong time, wrong place
no.
to put it.
I would have I would have had Judgment Day interfere, cost the match, they lose, then El Grande comes out of nowhere, jumps up the rope, does his flying headbutt. Okay, cool. You have solidified that. But him interfering on the side and just dropping the headbutt, it was just like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like it really, and then Balor being like, "Oh, okay," whatevs. But good match all the way up until the end. The
Yep.
end,
Yeah,
I, I
I
was
had it as a B plus, and then I scribbled the plus away after the outside interference. So it was a B. So it took away from the overall match, in my opinion.
it did.
So the next thing after that, there was a Seth and Logan segment backstage, where Seth was kind of telling Logan what's going on. So what I like is what they're doing, and I mentioned it a little earlier, talking about SmackDown, is for years and years and years, they didn't go too in depth with future contenders, like with the world title. It would be like that person, and they would just focus on that person, and like nobody else was really in that picture. But now you have Chase and Jay, and they kind of read off his schedule. I mean, he's fighting Logan Saturday night, then he's going to have to fight Gunther, and then after that is probably Seth Rollins, and they're probably going to knock that out in short order. So it looks like they're working Jay quite a bit, even not defending the title. He's working a lot. So I wonder if this is by design to weaken him to where he has that shorter run. But what I just like is that they're building a story around the belt itself, and it's involving other people that this storyline's going on, but now the belt itself is becoming a storyline because multiple people want to get involved and get their hands on it, which is logical. So it works.
It's that's the intent of that belt. It is a workhorse world championship, right? You're supposed to be defending it a lot. You're supposed to be out there doing all the shows. When Seth first got that belt, he was the right guy for it because he's an always there. He's 7-Eleven, man, 24/7. Seth is always there. Since Jay has been in the picture, Jay's been also 7-Eleven, 24/7. He's always been there. Like, that's the importance of that belt. Like, if you're going to get that belt, this is why I don't think Logan Paul gets it. When he had, like, the U.S. title, he could get away with disappearing for a couple of weeks with it. Everybody's like, oh, it'd be nice if Logan was around. Man, if you got that specific title, you have to, that's the only world championship out of the two that you cannot hide. You cannot. You have to be out grinding. Because, like the other one, the cinema title, you can get away with being gone for a week or two, especially if you got a mouthpiece. But you have to be out there grinding with that World Heavyweight Championship. And, like, whoever gets it needs to be a grinder. That's why Seth is in the picture. That's why Gunther is in the picture. That's why hopefully Logan Paul is in the picture because you know, he's taking his WWE stuff seriously, and I give him his props for that. So, like, that's why I said you have to grind it out. So that's why that's important. I just, they really need to hit a core. They need to do something with, and I know it's coming, so I'm trying to be patient, but, like, I really do feel like we need a little something something from the Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins faction. We need something maybe not epic. We need something good to come out of them, just to kind of nudge that story along. But dot dot dot. The Bloodline storyline did not go into instant fifth gear and just blast off and
No,
take off. It was slow rolled, big time, to the point where we were just like, "Are we? Is this a thing?" Like, there was early on in the Bloodline storyline too.
I know. And now we're
So
saying today in 2025, like it's still a thing, right? Like it still hangs around.
yeah,
It could be brought back at any time. That's the thing. They did it so well; they could be brought back. So
well, they screwed enough people that
yeah,
there's always a story there, and
yep.
I really think that, like, if you're gonna put Roman Reigns back into title contention, there has to be a whole effing gauntlet of people that he screwed over. Like, he should be running a gauntlet of all the people, the Drew McIntyres, the Sami Zayns, like all those guys that we were like, oh crap, they might finally do it, and you could justify the story yet. Drew at Clash at the Castle, you could have totally justified him going over. Sammy at Montreal,
Montreal, yeah.
totally could have justified him going over. He was so effing over with that crowd, and that's all the crowd wanted. But no, what did we get? Lather, rinse, repeat, interference, blah, blah, blah. Fine, fine. But Roman Reigns has to go through that gauntlet again. He has to, like, he should not be in the title picture at all. He cannot be Charlotte Flair. He cannot be Becky Lynch. He cannot be any of those people that just show up and, like, hi, I'm here. No, Roman Reigns has to run the gauntlet of all the, especially if he's going to do a face run, he has to run the gauntlet of everybody he screwed. And he has to
But do
do
you
it by
really think
himself.
do you really think he's gonna go for another title run? Because he's not a full timer. I mean, do you think it's possible he's done with the world title run? Or I mean, I know he's hinted about how that's his title.
I don't. I think he gets back into the mix at some point. It just depends on when he decides to show up for work, and it's a show up for work thing. Like, he doesn't have any mouthpieces anymore to do his dirty work for him. Like, that was my whole thing when people were just like, "Oh my God, he's the greatest ever." I'm like, the dude never shows up. Like, I respect Roman Reigns, but it is important to note that Roman Reigns wasn't the only one carrying the water. Paul Heyman was carrying the water. The Usos were carrying the water. Sami Zayn, when he got involved, was carrying the water for Roman Reigns. Like, Roman could be away, and he could afford to be away. If Roman Reigns is ever to get back into the title picture, he has to do it by himself, and he's going to have to run the gauntlet.
Yep, and that makes total sense. Total sense. But
So,
that may be a
now
while
that
coming.
we're now that we're totally sidetracked, let's get into the next
No,
match.
I thought it was good stuff.
Yeah, Becky, Roxanne Perez, and Natalya. So, one thing that you and I were texting back and forth because, again, I listen to Bustin' Open, and now Natalya's got a segment every week. I think it's on Thursdays on Bustin' Open.
Cool.
But when she called in and she was talking about it, she said there's two different wrestlers in her. There's Natalya, who's like the kind of WWE thing, and there's Natty, who's the one doing Bloodsport and all the other promotions. And let me tell you, man, like, I want some Natty. I don't want Natalya. I want Natty in WWE because the crowd appreciates and wants her out there. I hate that she ate the pin in this match. Look, Perez has got talent upon talent, by the way. She's really freaking good. And some will disagree, but I think the Lyra interference totally makes sense. And
I
that's
liked
just
it.
going to carry that storyline a little more. The only thing I didn't like coming out of this was Natalya eating the pin.
Well,
Like, I don't need
someone
Natalya
had to.
strapped. I
I mean,
know. I know.
you can't have her pin Becky because you're almost burying Becky like right away. So, by having Lyra interfere, it takes Becky out. She doesn't eat a pin. It's not doesn't really hurt her. I mean, Natalya, like, and I think this got. Yeah, I gave this like my highest marks. I think for the night, I gave it an A minus. I just thought that the in ring work was so good between the three ladies. So it was. Uh,
She's kicked it up a notch. Natty has kicked it up a notch. Like,
she looks
Natalya
great.
is.
First of all, I like the outfit she's wearing. Like she had a, it looked good. It looked more like a wrestling outfit. Like she's there to compete, like combat sports. It's almost had like an American Gladiator kind of look to it. But like she was.
Which The Miz is now hosting the reboot. So there's a nice tie in for you. Miz is hosting the reboot of American Gladiators.
Maybe he gets speared by a gladiator when he gets too cocky. No, they won't do that. That'd be funny though. God,
He's just going to be up in the
I
box.
gosh, that came out what in the '80s? First time, late '80s.
Late 80s, early
Yeah,
90s,
'90s.
man.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
Baywatch era.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, yeah. Everybody was injecting needles and getting massive muscles with
Time to watch Dodgeball again. Blazer. Laser.
laser.
Like,
Fucking
yeah.
Chuck Norris.
Fitness consigliere.
Oh, yeah, but no, that was
Um,
that. I love the I called it the BOGO sharpshooter that Natalya did when she
yeah,
got both tied up. So
I
I
love
guess
that.
so.
The
I'm
BOGO
yeah,
sharpshooter.
you buy one get one. So hey, BOGO sharpshooter. I like the liar's interference. I don't have a lot of notes. I liked they did a lot of mat and chain wrestling. So I'll hit on this a little bit later in the show when we get to the next triple threat. But I thought that was enjoyable. It really worked really well, and nobody looked tired or blown up. Everything looked crisp. I thought it was a really good match. It was the best match of the night, I think, in ring.
I think so too. And then, speaking of getting blown up, Grayson Waller got blown up by Sheamus in the very next match.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, it was fine. I am so glad we finally got some payoff with this crap. So this crap's been going on for months. Like, Waller does the doof doof and throws freaking Austin Theory under the bus. Like, I got you a match. It's with Braun Breaker. Now you get folded in half or
Yeah.
whoever, right?
Yeah.
And the
Stop
fact that
planning your funeral.
yeah, and the fact that it flipped finally and bro, Theory becoming a face? Like, I hope so. I'm ready for something new for Theory. I think we're part of the problem with Theory and the reason why he's been kind of in purgatory was he went, he was like, his first character iteration was the appointed one, right?
Yes, he was a
Like,
Vince's
this was the
boy.
Vince guy. He's the one. I have deemed him the one. And Vince shoved him down our throats so much that we're like, he's not ready. I don't know why he's got the title. Why are we doing this? And now that then he got up with Grayson Waller and he kind of got they kind of had a good thing going. And now that it's splitting up, I'm really ready to see something else from Waller's always going to be a heel. It's just kind of his persona. But like Theory can pull off being a face, but I want to see something more for Theory. I don't care what you do with Theory, but I want to see Theory change it up. And I think he's ready for that. We're detached enough from the appointed one or whatever the hell you want to call it to what he is now.
Yes,
Now's the time. The crowd's kind of giving him some love now. It's time to do something different with Theory and let Theory kind of shine. He's talented. He's talented. And that's the worst part about it. The fact that he got put in a bad gimmick that, like, shoved him down our throats, and we're like, whoa, 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 you ain't earned that yet.
no,
And everybody was like that.
and it was
And now,
cheesy with the cell phone. Like people, like even the kids didn't like it. It was geared towards kids, and like the the adults hated it, and then the kids didn't give a shit. So like, and they were just like, because oh, this is like the next. Because Vince was like pushing like almost like the next Cena. That's what it kind of felt like. So he just shoved him down our throat, and guess what? We just threw it back up all over Vince. But Vince would probably like.
I'm not getting into it. Some of that
No,
shit
that's why I
disturbing.
ended the sentence. I'm like, that was a just a statement. That was not a conversational intro.
No. So, yeah, I mean, not much out of that match other than Theory becoming kind of face. His facial work during that
God,
match was
hilarious.
so good. And Sheamus, hey, props to Sheamus, man. Since he's come back on this last little run here, he's been in some good shape, like better shape than I normally. I'm not saying Sheamus is out of shape, but like Sheamus at times could be poofy. And like he's really kind of trimmed down and slimmed down, and he looks great right now,
Yeah, he does.
physically.
If for his, especially for his age, he looks great. And what I liked a lot of how Waller sold stuff from Sheamus. Like Sheamus had him in the corner and just started chopping him in the chest, and Waller did something like I don't know if a lot of people caught it. I caught it. I thought it was a cool touch because it's sure as hell what I would do if Sheamus had slapped me in the chest. Waller's like trying to run out of the corner just to get away. And I just thought that was so cool because what do most wrestlers do? Oh, he hits me in the
They
chest.
just
I'll
sit
take
there
three.
and take it.
I'm gonna take a bump or I'm gonna fall. Like no, he like tried to run away, and I'm like that's smart because that's what we would do. We would probably try to be hitting back too, but we try to get the hell out of the corner and stop getting our chest caved in. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. That's what I was saying in my notes. Just a fun match. Theory's getting over organically. The fans are starting to gravitate towards him, and that's when it works is when the fans decide. There was a backstage segment with Adam Pearce, and I forget who said it because Adam was getting stressed out, but he said it smells like a midlife crisis back here. I think it was Xavier Woods. The New Day were back there talking, and yeah, because I think I texted you how funny Xavier Woods is. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
when he came with that, it smells like a midlife crisis back here. Yeah, I busted out like in the chair, like scared Christy because she was half falling asleep, and I think I love how they're picking on Adam Pearce, but the New Day on the heel run, their mic work is even better than it is
Oh
when they're
yeah,
face.
it's
They're
good.
hilarious, like they're awesome. I love it when they do guest commentary because it's just a lot of good stuff in there. Funny stuff, but then they do throw some good stuff in there too, some realistic stuff. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. But I had that in my notes, the comment. It took me a second. I should have wrote down who said it too, much less what was said. Okay.
All right. So we're gonna go into this next match. I'm not gonna belabor this match because there's a good reason for it. So it was Rhea Ripley, Kyrie Sane, and Zoe Stark. So if you don't know, I don't know where the hell you've been. So Zoe Stark got like blew up her knee like bad. I don't know what the final prognosis was. I don't know if it's even out there. Zoe Stark got hurt, and you knew it wasn't an angle. And this is on Netflix. You knew it wasn't an angle the minute that it happened. They cut to commercial.
Actually, WWE edited the Netflix today, or I think they did it this morning, where you can't see her leg bend or when she screams. I think they cut right to commercial. Or
Somebody caught
they,
the damn shot. Look, one of the there's
yeah,
been a couple of times
I mean it's
I'm a big
graphic.
NFL fan. I'm a big NFL fan, and there's just a couple of times, like in the NFL, Joe Theismann being the most noteworthy, that you saw that and you want to unsee it. And I was trying my damnedest not to see the actual injury. Like I'd be, flying through clips on like X, and they would be like, "Oh, here's a video." And I'm like, "Fine, I don't have to hit play." And somebody grabbed a still, and I was just like, "Oof." And I feel horrible for her. I'm sorry that she got hurt. And I really think that there's a little subset to this, which is a lot of people are crapping on that Rhea went over. Guess what, folks? We don't know who was supposed to go over.
I think Rhea was going to go over by pinning,
She might have been.
by Zoe. She was going to pin. Zoe Stark was going to eat the pin, and I think it was going to be Rhea anyway. But
Maybe.
yeah, we
Maybe.
don't know.
We don't know. But the whole point is that like crapping on Rhea because she went over. We don't know. I've seen crazier stuff with Triple H. He's put some of the younger talent over. Zoe Stark's still there, so they obviously believe in her. But man, what a mm.
Yeah,
And to get busted open their props, Bully Ray broke this one down too. I'm not going to get into it, but he tells you the why. And like, if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to Bully Ray talk about it. He does a great job explaining what went wrong in that piece. But I don't want to harp on this match. Rio goes over. I think it's a little somber because of the Zoe Stark injury, and it was. Oof. Wish her all the best, and I hope she recovers, man.
basically what Rhea and Kerry Zane did is they just made chicken salad out of chicken shit with the injury,
Yeah,
and I felt bad for Zoe because I always liked her. I like Ivy now, like these like kind of underdog characters that just put on great performances, but they're like just so close. But I think Zoe was like, I think they were maybe planning some decent things for her when she came back this time. So,
I
but
I think she was on the cusp, and like, if they are gonna do a women's PLE, I think she definitely would have been prominent in that. I think there's a lot of stuff there, but
yeah, because I mean they just released Shayna Blazer and some other women wrestlers, and they kept on to Zoe. So there was they see something in Zoe
yeah,
Stark. So yeah, it just sucks it happened. And another thing the internet they're going to do, they're going to want to put blame. Oh, Carrie Zane had ring rust, or she shouldn't have done it her first match back.
I
Um,
already I
um,
already saw that,
yeah,
and
it,
she was kind of out of position, and it
it's
is what it is, man.
it's. Here's the thing, and this is what people forget because they love to, especially not passionate wrestling fans. They love to. Oh, that's all fake. They're not really fighting. I mean, they're not really fighting, but I mean, the athletes that are in there. I grew up where half the wrestlers had like beer guts like truck drivers. That was a normal thing. They were just big guys. But now, I mean, these athletes. I mean, their conditioning is probably better than some of your athletes in the NFL and NBA and all that. I mean, these are just bona fide athletes that are gifted in what they do, and the margin for error is so small in some of the moves that they do. It was just a wrestling incident that went wrong. I don't want to blame anybody.
Yeah,
It's just something that didn't go right,
it's
and
like in
that
NASCAR
happens.
when they call it a racing incident. Like it just happens. It's
Yeah,
like it's a racing incident. It happens.
yeah. And
Kind
I
of
don't
like
want to put
Forrest
blame on
Gump.
either one because I'm pretty sure Carrie Zane feels terrible about it too. So I mean, that's just the risk of the sport or the business, whatever you want to call it. So it just happens.
Absolutely.
But
All right, man. So we got the last match, and the last match was Jay and Braun. Not a lot to write home about. Um, Overall, right? The match was fun to watch, though. I did have that the match cooked a little bit. Um, Sammy and Punk come in, they protect Jay, which leads us to there's probably going to be a third dude. And then there was one spot you were talking about, with Braun Breaker that caught your eye. Why don't you tell us about that?
It was when he had Jay up against the ring the announcers table, and he leapt from the ring apron and then went into Jay and then over the table. Braun's going to kill himself doing that someday, but it's so impressive to watch. And what I notice is like he's doing that off the flat of the apron, which is the part of the ring that has the least give, that allows for the least spring. So that's just Braun's pure athleticism and core strength just doing that. And McAfee wants to say it's 20 feet. It's not 20 feet. It's probably 10 to 12. But still, for just standing there flat and let
Yeah.
him 15, we'll go.
It's
I'll
still
give. It's
impressive
very
because
impressive because if he could use
he
the rope,
cleared, he almost
he
cleared
almost missed.
Jay.
He almost missed Jay. Yeah, he caught Jay up high.
He almost cleared Jay. Like, it was
Yeah,
impressive, but, like, he almost cleared Jay, and I was like, ooh, that was almost a botch waiting to happen. Like,
right. Because
you,
what do
you know,
most guys do? They usually use the ropes, spring off the ropes onto the table, or they get off the turnbuckles and do it that way. He did it from the flat of the apron, so he's not even like that high. So he's shooting out instead of like if he did like if he like stood up like LA Knight jumps up and jumps off the ropes. If he would have jumped up say to the middle rope and sprung off, then he'd have that arc where he can come down. He probably would end up in the third row though if he did that, with Braun. But just I mean he's flat footed and he just like does this leap and like goes flying. It's just so impressive. And the top rope,
it
the
is.
jump up top rope Frankensteiner is always fun to watch. He doesn't always like nail it like perfect, and the opponent is has to work with him. But it just a pure athletic standpoint, it's still
I've
it's amazing to
I've
watch.
noticed it depends on the opponent,
Yeah,
though. Like,
yeah,
the opponent doing their part really makes or breaks the Frankensteiner out when he does it. Like, certain people he does it with really well, and then there's other people you're like, okay, that could have been better. But you get that anytime, right?
yeah,
Like, you got guys that'll just sell the crap out of everything. And you can knock The Rock from back in the day. The one thing that The Rock did, like, everything was oversold, man. That dude took stunners like a champ.
yeah, oh yeah,
Like, when Stone Cold would stun that dude, and he would like flop, bounce off the ropes, and like back in. Like, that guy sells. And like, going back to like Austin Theory, Austin Theory's really big seller.
he
Like,
is.
he sells, like he oversells, and it's so freaking fun to watch. Those There's only like a handful that do it, but they're like the people that oversell when like finishers get hit and stuff like that. You just really appreciate those guys because, like, when that happens, it makes all the difference in the world because it's just you get a little bit of that inside chuckle in your gut, and then you're like, I know it wasn't that bad, but thanks, I appreciate it. And you get that a lot. Other guys are just good at selling, but they don't oversell. Like Randy Orton's that
Right.
guy, right? Like Randy Orton, when he gets hurt or takes a back shot or whatever he's trying to sell you, he does a great job of not only selling it but carrying it all the way through. But like he doesn't oversell. But then you got the guys like Austin Theory that just like it was the most craziest, most devastating thing that's ever happened to a human being ever in their lives. And it's just so great to
Yeah.
watch.
Overselling is fun, but you can tell with an overselling that the person really isn't hurt. Guys like Randy, I think KO is a good seller too. Sometimes like they'll get hit with a move and the way they sell will make you think like, "Ooh, is he really hurt or is he just selling?" So when they make you doubt whether or not they're just selling or whether or not they're really hurt, that's a really good seller because it makes you believe. But overselling, like Shawn Michaels was another one that liked to oversell stuff too. Triple H would at times too. That infamous when he ate that kick and he teetered for like 30 seconds before he finally fell over. That was
So going back to clips, I actually saw a clip of Mick Foley. and Triple H after their match, like back in the day. He was Cactus Jack at the time. And like, Triple H is all bloody. I think it's the one where he took like the piece of wood through his leg or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just, Triple H is just laid out on the trainer's table like, water, give me water. Yeah, you know what I mean? It was kind of cool to see like on the background shots, but like I love those callbacks and like yeah. But no, so a lot happened here. So like obviously we know Sammy Punk and Jay are a faction, right? You also picked up on something with Paul Heyman, which I've also kind of noticed too. So what did you pick up on Paul Heyman?
So for years, like when he was Brock Heyman's advocate, did you ever see Paul really interfere? Nope. Did
Nope.
did he have to? Why would you have to interfere if you're managing Brock Lesnar? So did you ever see him interfere with Roman Reigns?
Not on the regular,
Non
but it wasn't physical. It was he'd hand
distraction
something off, distractions, like,
because they had the rest of the
typical.
bloodline crew that could run actual interference. So Monday night, Heyman got physically involved. I think it was Jay went to run the ropes and Paul Heyman grabbed a leg. And then I think Paul also he grabbed a chair and gave a chair to Braun or threw a chair to some. No, Braun picked up the chair from outside, but he also did something else. I like that Paul is now getting physically involved in matches, and this is another reason why I think he's going to do it. I don't think he'll do it for Seth because Seth doesn't need it, but they're bringing Braun up as like a pupil, like Seth is quote mentoring him. So I think like he's gonna keep doing it, and it's gonna work for a while until it doesn't, and it starts costing Braun. And that's when I start thinking you're gonna see when Braun is gonna break away. I'm not saying it's gonna be immediate because, like you talked about going into fifth gear, I want them to kind of try to slow roll this whole thing too. So, I mean, this is down the line, but you can plan it. So Paul got involved, and it kind of worked. And then Paul sold it really great to the ref with his facial expressions that he didn't do anything. But I think over time, as needed, if Braun needs a little help, Paul's going to be there to do stuff like that until it stops working, and then that can be one of the reasons for Braun or something like that. But overall, I just like the fact that Paul Heyman is doing Paulie dangerously stuff
Yeah. Yeah, that's
as Paul Heyman.
it. Yeah, and it really like it's nice because it's almost a different iteration of Paul Heyman, right?
Yes,
Because to your point, like we saw the advocate for Brock Lesnar, we saw the wise man for Roman Reigns. This is different. We talked about this before though too, right? The dynamic is different when it comes to this too, because the dynamic between him and Seth Rollins is different, right? They're I don't
Paul's the deal maker. He's the guy wheeling and dealing and making stuff happen. He's the cog in the machine that gets everything set up. Because if you notice, Paul told Jey Uso that he set up this non-title match, and then
yeah,
he
and
also
he doesn't usually do that.
right, and also he also said Braun doesn't want your title. He doesn't want to hurt you, and I took note of that because I think down the line that's going to cost Paul Heyman, just like this outside interference will. Because why would you go into professional wrestling and be an intercontinental champion and say, I don't care about the world title? That makes no sense. So that's Paul Heyman and
Because
Seth Rollins' delusion. They're going to try to control and keep down Braun Breaker until they can't anymore. So these little things, like Sean and I always talk about, how you got to look for the little things. There's a lot of nuggets Friday night and Monday night. To me, this was one of them when they had that little backstage thing with Paul and Jay, and Jay's just telling Paul's just telling Jay like he doesn't want your title. He just wants to hurt you because Seth Rollins is going to take the title. Is that really how Braun Breaker feels? We'll
well,
tune
I
in and
think
we'll
it is
find out.
right.
Maybe right
I think
now.
it is right now. I think it is right now, and I think that to your point, it's the whole student pupil thing. Like
But that's only going to last
honestly,
so
like
long.
I gotta give him his props again. So Bully Ray does a lot of Star Wars analogies when it comes to um, wrestling on some of these storylines, and honestly, I think there is a little bit of Star Warsism going on. Paul Heyman's the Emperor. For anybody that's curious about that, he's the Emperor. He's Palpatine, right? And he manipulates the whole situation to kind of get what he wants, right? So if you remember in the Craptastic prequels, yes, I'm slighting the prequels.
What? Those are
Um,
my favorites.
we can't do this podcast anymore.
Like
No,
4,
I
5,
know
I,
you're not
I
doing it.
saw 4, 5, and 6 in the theaters as a kid. So I'm that old.
4, 5, and 6 are good. I'm talking
Oh,
1,
oh,
2, and
yeah,
3
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are no boy.
equal.
Yeah, okay.
But the important takeaway from that is that Dooku, Count Dooku, was originally Palpatine's apprentice, and then eventually he got replaced by Anakin. So the whole point in this is I think there's a little bit of that dynamic going on, which is Heyman's the Emperor, Seth Rollins is there, Seth Rollins is doing what needs to be done, and then you got, Breaker is Anakin, where he's just kind of waiting in the wings. He's going to keep chirping in his ear. He's going to let him hone his skills, and then it's going to happen. Now, why wouldn't Breaker want to go for that world title? There's a couple of answers to that, and I think some of that revolves around what do you do with the cinema title? And I think that there's an argument to be made that you put Braun Breaker over after the cinema title. I think, though, with the dynamic of adding a third, I would really, really like to see Drew McIntyre tied into this. Like, I really need Drew McIntyre tied in. And then you have Drew McIntyre wreaking havoc on SmackDown. You got Seth wreaking havoc on Raw. And then you can have Breaker floating between the two. So I'd really like that. I don't want to see this faction. Well,
I would
Bloodline did.
if they get Drew, there's one more person I want them to get, and it's going to be way down the line, and that's Kevin Owens when he comes back from his injury. So
So
that
the bad news on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens dropped a video sometime this week or recently. He hasn't had his surgery yet. They're still trying to figure out the best way to go forward. So somebody did do a book about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's lifelong wrestling interactions. Um, but I don't think we're going to see KO until, well, probably this time next year, at best. So I think when he comes back, it's going to be epic. But I don't. I think if they're smart, this is a 2-year storyline. If they're smart,
that's what I'm
uh,
saying. You could still bring him in this time next year if he's
yeah.
back.
But if you bring in Drew, you bring in the truth sayers, all those guys that tell the truth about all these faces, where they kind of go like, "Well, you think he's a face, but he's an asshole," and like they need to do that. So, but that's to belabor the point.
No,
But
I've talked about. I agree. I think Drew would be great with that group too. Plus, it just gives him that extra rub being a Paul Heyman guy.
yeah, and I think Drew deserves it. We
Yep.
talked about it when we were talking about Roman earlier. Like
Yes.
Drew is fully capable. Drew did a lot of good stuff during the COVID era. Um, I don't I don't think people give him enough credit for that time. But you know what, man?
You know what?
Let's move
Real
on.
quick. You know what I liked at the end after all that outside interference, the final knockout shot by Logan Paul to end the show.
I missed that. Yeah, so that was a nice receipt that got there,
Yep.
because Jay got his in the beginning of the show. That was a nice little bookend there. Um, it keeps Logan Paul. Look, Logan Paul's talented. He's fun to watch. So I can't wait until he snatches a drone out of the air or whatever the hell he does in this match. I look forward to reviewing that. I hope it's really cool. But you always get that viral moment with Logan Paul, and I'm looking forward to it. It was just it set him up. We're ready for the match. Do I think he goes over? No, but we're going to talk about that because let's get into Saturday night's main event.
Yes.
So Matt and I talked about sure. There's a couple of key things to talk about when we talk about Saturday night's main event. All right. First things first. Right now there is only 4 confirmed matches on the card. 4. and that is the steel cage match with Damien Priest and Drew McIntyre. That is the tag team match with Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Sami Zayn. That is R-Truth and John Cena, and that is Jey Uso and Logan Paul. Jey Uso and Logan Paul has been confirmed as the main event. Matt and I, in a break, we're talking about what do we think the show order is going to be, and I just happened to pull it off the WWE website in this order, and I think it makes a lot of sense. So this is a prediction. It's not a spoiler. Sorry, Paul Heyman. Anyways, this is a prediction of why and how I think this card's going to go down. This is another important note. There's no women's match on Saturday Night Main Event right now. There is a possibility they'll add one. I'm sure it'll be like a Stratton thing or a Jade and Naomi. I don't know. So we might get a fifth. PLEs get five. This isn't a PLE. It's PLE light. It's a thing. It's kind of like the Saudi shows. They're a thing. I don't want to overhype them. So we think it opens up with a steel cage match. Makes a lot of sense. Gets the crowd ruckus. After that, we get the tag match. And you're like, gee, Sean, why would you have the tag match as the second match? Because the participants in the tag match have a tie-in to the main event. So you need that little gap. The second to last match is going to be R-Truth and John Cena. I think that match is not going to go long, but it'll go long enough. And it's not a popcorn match. It's a little better than a popcorn match, but it's a transition match, which makes sense. But we'll break them all down individually because we have a lot to talk about with John Cena and R-Truth. And then finally, you get Jey and Logan Paul. So that's what we think the order is going to be. So let's get into it. Matt, steel cage match. Drew McIntyre, Damien Priest. What are you thinking here?
I got Drew
Who you got
I got Drew.
and why?
Man, Drew's just been on the hot streak. He just should go over. It just makes sense, and it's not to put down Damien Priest. Right now, Damien Priest, they don't really have a future storyline with him right now. So I just think he's like that little bit below what Drew is right now. Drew's on it. Drew's got big things ahead of him. Drew's got a future showdown with Fatu. So I think if you had Drew lose the steel cage match to Damien Priest, and then down the line here he's fighting Jacob Fatu for the IC title, you're like, why? Why isn't it Priest? So uh, it just, for the storyline, it makes total sense for Drew to go over. I want Drew to go over. Drew needs to go on a run and start looking really strong. What do you think about the cage match? Who you got going over, and what are your reasons?
Well, I got Drew. I got Drew, and I think Drew has some future ahead of him. Yeah, maybe you put the U.S. title on him, but damn, it looks good on freaking Jacob Fatu.
Oh,
So
I'm not saying to pull it off of Fatu, but I think there's going to be a
no.
showdown between Fatu and Drew.
So I think, kind of your point, there's nothing really on the horizon for Damian Priest right now, and nothing that's really got me intrigued or feels like they're leaning a certain way. I am going to say this, though, and I've kind of noticed this in the last couple of weeks. We kept on talking about it throughout the podcast. There's like this 3 week cycle that they're on right now with PLEs. I do think that some of the stuff is vanilla in certain weeks, and I think it's impacting the story builds a little bit. They're doing a good job, but I think there's a little work to be done. No, I got Drew McIntyre. I think this is going to be a fun one. I think it's going to hurt. I think there's going to be some wincing, and I think it'll be interesting. So I definitely got Drew. So that leads us to tag match. Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Sami Zayn. And I got the heels in this one. I
Same,
definitely have the heels.
same.
And I'm going to tell you why I got the heels. Because the faces the last couple of weeks have been up. The faces have been getting their W's. That they come out, they've been getting the saves, they've looked strong, they've owned the ring. They've kind of had Seth and Braun on their heels. I think this is going to get ugly. I do think that there is a better than 50% chance Sami Zayn turns on CM Punk. I don't know if I want that, because here's the thing. If Sami Zayn joins that faction with Paul Heyman, I don't know if I'm getting a lot, right? I think there's some story there. There's the, oh wow, I got my ass beat so bad I finally freaking came to my senses. There's that, but where are you going with Sammy, right? Like, I need more, and we can talk about it later with the later match, but like, I don't know if we're gonna get that flip. But what I do think is we're gonna find out on Saturday night's main event who the third guy is. If it's Sami Zayn or if it's somebody else. We're gonna find out who the third guy is on Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, I think that's the one big thing of the show we're gonna see. Like we were talking before we went on online, and I said, I don't see any titles changing, but something's big gonna happen. It's on NBC, national audience. They're gonna put something big, and it seems like they've been putting some emphasis on these Saturday night main events that they're important because when they were back on in the '80s, they were important. So I think they're treating them pretty good. They're putting title matches on there. I mean, they're not on PLE label levels, but you get good stuff out of it because it's the brand itself. I mean, they're on NBC. They've always managed to put on a good show whenever they're on national television. But that one, yeah,
Yeah, I
I, I
don't
got I
expect
got the
them
heels
to
too.
bleed or anything.
I just if you do turn Sammy, I'm like, is it too soon? Because like we've been talking about pacing. You think it would not be too soon?
No, because you still got that 3-on-3 thing, right? Right now, floating out there. And here's the deal. I can make an argument for flipping Sammy. So, and I know I covered this theory last week, but here's the deal. Flipping Seth Rollins takes away stuff that matters to you, right? So, in taking Sami Zayn away, he betrays CM Punk, so he screws CM Punk again, and by extension, Paul Heyman screws CM Punk. Taking away Sammy also screws, especially after this week where he is like, "Yeah, Jay, I got your back," blah blah blah. Sami Zayn flipping also screws Jay because they're tight, they got a history.
Yep.
And the reason I think there's a good possibility is, and this is why this match is where it's at, right? So maybe we don't see the flip in the tag match. We just get a straight up tag. But then Logan Paul, people are going to get involved. There's going to be interference, folks. Guess what? There's going to be interference. People are going to get involved in the Jey Uso Logan Paul match. Logan Paul's going to be up, and shicey crap's going to happen, and Sammy's going to come out. But then Sammy tries to flip. Jay perseveres still, and we'll get to that. But like, that's when you reveal that Sammy's the third guy, and then he just comes on Monday Night Raw and goes, "He beat sense into me.
Yeah.
I got it now. I hear it. I understand the vision, or what Seth is trying to do." So there's definitely a story there. I think we find out who the third guy is, or if there's a third guy. They might swerve me, but
I definitely think
yeah,
you're gonna see tension in that tag match between Sammy. There's trust issues between CM Punk and Sammy, so I think you're gonna see a lot of hesitant tagging, some hesitant teamwork. Then they might work together for a bit, and I think there'll be a miscue, and someone's gonna get hit or miss a spot or something, and get mad at the other one. I think it'll be pretty predictable. It's just like you said, are they going to turn Sammy or not, and if are they going to do it that match or not? But I think there's
so
going to be
I
a
think
lot of tension on the face side, and I think that's what's going to cost them the match against Braun and Seth. It's going to be their own issues, internal issues, is going to cost them the match Saturday night.
I don't disagree, and I think that the whole CM Punk story is really trust issues. So I think that that's going to be the underlying theme for CM Punk, trust issues. Everybody keeps on screwing him over. Everybody keeps on stabbing him in the back. So that feeds into that beast. But then we get to the national treasure versus the goat. John Cena versus against R-Truth, and you and I just actually, you stumbled onto like an interesting thing. Let's talk about intros, Matt. How do you think? First off, I'm going to be straight up. John Cena wins this,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
But I
of
don't think
course.
it's a squash.
No, no.
There's going to be a little something, something here. So, Matt, why don't you tell everybody what you're thinking, and I'll add on to it.
So actually, what I think would be great was you have John Cena come out first because it won't work unless John Cena is out first because he's got to see this. John Cena comes out with his, his music, which maybe he cuts it off, black screen, which is John Cena, and he walks out to the ring, and then all of a sudden, John Cena's music hits again, and it's R-Truth with the baseball hat and the jorts and the pump up sneakers, and the trust, loyalty, respect stuff, and R-Truth is dressed as the John Cena that R-Truth knows. And he does the whole John Cena shtick all the way down to the ring. And John just sits
I
there
think it's
boiling in anger, watching this whole thing go on. It would get a monstrous pop because we would talk. Well, actually, we were on the break, and I said, I asked Sean. I said, what kind of pop you think Archer's going to get? Because I mean, he's not a top guy, but he's like a lovable guy. So I'm like, I think he's going to get a good pop. And then Sean was like, oh, they're definitely going to be doing the what's up stuff, and R-Truth be rapping. And that's what I said. Well, what if I was to do this, I would have him come out, and I even mentioned maybe have him dressed up as the Professor of Thugonomics, but Sean said, "No, it'd be better off if he just dressed up as bright, colorful Cena with the jorts and the T-shirt and the hat and the wristbands and all that stuff." And I think it would.
well, that's because he had when he cut his promo, he specifically mentioned the loyalty, hustle, respect thing. So that's why you can't go with. I would be all for the Professor of Thugonomics. So I'm not gonna lie, like that's what I'd love to see. But what I think it's better if he comes out, and I think
And
if
R-Truth
I'm
trying to.
doing it,
R-Truth kind of dresses like the Professor of Thugonomics. A lot of times he wears the basketball tank tops and the chains, so it wouldn't be much of a change. But for him to dress up as Cena, you know, that we all know
yeah,
could
I
be awesome.
if we're doing this, we're going all in,
Yep.
right? Like we're going all in on this. And really, what I would do, we're on to something, folks. So Matt's right. So you play the Cena music. Cena comes down, does the little towel thing, everything else. Cena gets introduced first. Then he tells him to cut his music, and then you get this lull, and you're like, okay, R-Truth's coming out, and then you get the John Cena music again, and he's
Oh
like,
yeah, the
hold up,
dramatic
I
pause. That's a
said to
good
cut
point.
my music.
No, no,
You
the
and
dramatic
then
pause is great, Sean. That's a great idea. You kind of have a
and
little longer
then
than usual. People are like, what's going on? And then it hits. Yeah, great call.
yep. And then to add on to that, what we're gonna do is R-Truth is gonna come out and like just like you see overhyped John Cena, like just happy to be back. It was actually one of those largest pop things. Like he came back, I forget what match it was, but like he came back and like the crowd just
I
exploded.
think it was the Royal
And
Rumble. He
like it
came
was
back from the
so
Royal
impressive.
Rumble one year, and they went nuts.
And they went absolutely bat crap
Yeah.
crazy. And he was just feeling himself and he was all over the arena, just doing John Cena things, and I think that's what you have R-Truth do. He does all the crap up on the stage. He's running around. Give him a towel. The time is R-Truth time. I don't care what it says. Just have R-Truth do John Cena things, and then all the way to the ring, and just have Cena looking at him. To your point, with disgust. But he's like, yo, dog, I'm trying to remind you of who you are, blah, blah, blah. And then we get into the match. Again, I expect the intros to be the longest segment of this match. I expect the match to kind of go back and forth. I think R-Truth is going to get a lot of John Cena stuff in. And I think that Cena is going to destroy him. And we talked about it a little earlier. I need Cena to obliterate R-Truth, not just beat him. I need him to obliterate R-Truth. We need to make it uncomfortable what he does to R-Truth. We need to make it so bad. You want to push that dude as the heel? You want to ruin wrestling? We know R-Truth is going to bring the fun. Like, we just know it. He can't help himself. He made Cena break character after Backlash, for crying out loud. Like, he's going to get his. R-Truth is going to make you smile. But the long and the short of it is, R-Truth has to get obliterated, because you take all that love and that goodwill and all that crap that everybody is behind R-Truth because they're just feeling it because he makes them smile, and you just pummel the crap
Yep.
out of R-Truth, and you take it all away from everybody, and then you really have Cena going over as a heel. Like, I want to see Truth get AA'd 6 million times. I want to see him get cracked in the head with the belt. Like, I want Cena to, like, do all the heel crap this time. I want to see, R-Truth is out. I want Cena doing the thing where he lifts him up off the mat, so it's only a 2 count, so he can beat the
Yep.
crap out of him more. It has to do that. If you destroy R-Truth, if you destroy that one guy that's all about you, he's in this match because he's trying to save your soul. No,
No, because it can't be.
you've destroyed.
It can't be like Randy Orton where it's a belt shot or a kick to the balls and then a belt shot. It's got to be emphatic. Um, I think it's not going to go long. I think 12 to 15 minutes. But and I think I said to you offline is John's R-Truth's idol is John Cena. So he idolizes him. So I'm talking about R-Truth the character. I'm not delusional to think R-Truth really does this. Run killings. But R-Truth loves John Cena, idolizes him. So
Country singer Ron Killings.
yeah,
Thank you.
there we go. Yeah, we'll see him probably on the CMAs next year with Jelly Roll. Uh, boy, that'd be a pair.
Sweet.
Um,
Announce it on our podcast.
yeah,
R-Truth.
no, but winning. But no, R-Truth's gonna be like he's gonna know all the good John Cena stuff when John Cena was babyface John Cena, so all the moves. So I think you match him up really well. You have a couple of chances where he almost gets John, and then John finally says enough is enough, and John starts playing the dastardly heel, which R-Truth can't figure that out because he doesn't know the bad John Cena. He only knows the good. So that's when John just destroys him, does whatever you want him to do, AAs here, STFs, whatever. I think it's got to be. I think what it is, he's got to beat him up to pin him, and then continue the fight after the match. Like, if you're gonna really sell it, R-Truth shouldn't be walking back to that ring. He needs to have trainers down there. They need to have medical people down there
Yes.
to help him back, or less.
Well, thank God the security. Oh, I hope security comes in and saves them.
So
Oh,
so
wait.
I hate to bring this up. I'm just saying a what if. The only we haven't heard from Cody Rhodes in a while. Could the John Cena beat? And I know you have you want your thing where John Cena turns all our baby faces heel, but I'm gonna play it the other way. What if he just after the match continues to beat on R-Truth and beat on him, and then Cody Rhodes comes out for the saves, and that kind of sets up down the road.
Cody Rhodes the next opponent? I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so. No, Cody's way down the line, so that wouldn't work. But I don't know if somebody comes out to save R-Truth to set up the next opponent, whoever that could be.
It could be that, or you just let R-Truth
Yeah.
take the beating. And I kind of want him to take the beating.
I kind of do
It's
too.
like, if you're gonna play heel,
Yeah.
let's be a heel.
John just beats up R-Truth till Nick Aldis brings out security and whoever, all the refs, and call out the dogs, and then that's how you end it. Probably be the best way, most realistic.
The only thing I need out of that whole thing is at the end of R-Truth, like in his semi last dying breath, dropping the "Why, John? Why?" Like, that's all I need.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I need
I want to.
I need an absolute pummeling.
Well, I also want a reaction from the fans because right now, like, they're not buying into it. I want them to get so mad they're like, you know what? F you, Cena. That everything else you did not so bad, but what you did to R-Truth, that's crossing the line. F you. Like that's it. I'm done. Like
Yeah.
that.
I really,
But
really, really want that, because I want, look, I know we say it a lot. I love R-Truth. And R-Truth has a place in WWE. R-Truth has a place in entertainment, and R-Truth does a lot. But the point is, at the end of this, if we're really doing Cena heel shit, I need him to take his number one fan and just skull drag that dude. I need him destroyed because what that does is that, and the uncomfortable destruction,
Yes.
not just, it has to be uncomfortable because I need the fans to look at it and go, oh, wow, that's a really dick thing to do. And I need them, because look, the hardest part about Cena is always going to be you're not going to turn off his legacy, right? You're not going to turn any of that off. So you're always going to be fighting that. The fans are not going to let you fully turn him heel because he doesn't have enough time to be a heel for an extended period of time. He's having a good iteration of it, but he can't stay a heel. And the fans just want to love him. And the only way that you're going to get more of a flip is you destroy people like R-Truth.
You got to get them mad.
You
You got
beat,
to piss them off. Is what you got to do. You really that's you got to make it personal to the fans. So you got to make them mad, because
then he's got to also come out on the next SmackDown or whatever, and he's got to own the crap out of it. Like, that's the other half of this. You got to put the exclamation
oh
point.
yeah.
Now,
Did I mind doing it? Yeah. No, I didn't mind doing it. Matter of fact, I felt damn good doing it. It felt good.
because
I
he's just
enjoyed
one
it.
of you.
Yep.
He was your
Yep.
vessel, and I destroyed it.
Yeah.
Like, just go all in on it.
Every time I hit
But,
him, it was like hitting one of you.
yep. Busted Open had an interesting theory, though. And I thought it was kind of cool. It was kind of a cool slant, but I just don't see it happening. A dusty finish for this.
We have not seen a dusty finish
A
in
dusty finish.
forever.
And Bully Ray said it, and I was like,
You're talking about where R-Truth goes over and then they review the tape and they pull the belt back?
I don't even think you have to go that far. I think you could. R-Truth is the type of character, and this is where I could see kind of a dusty-ish finish. Like, maybe R-Truth, because title doesn't change hands when you get DQ'd, right?
Yeah.
So maybe R-Truth
Okay. Yep.
wins, but wins via DQ, and then he because he's R-Truth and awesome and stuff, he thinks he's got the belt, so he just, I got the belt. I won the match. It's like you won by DQ. You can't have the belt. Like, but I won the match. And you got to take the belt away, and then John Cena beats the crap out of him. That would be fun too.
Yeah.
I'll take that too.
Does
Like, there's ways to do
Let
it.
me ask you, does Busted Open also think that that Cena really needs to beat up R-Truth bad, or did they mention anything about that? Or
They didn't talk about it,
yeah.
but we know that WWE listens to you and I, and we're basically writing their shows for them. So uh, we just been honestly know that is a total falsehood.
Well,
However, we have been on quite a roll.
yeah, well, yeah, because my bank account does not reflect that WWE is listening.
We're just giving it away for
I
free
know.
anyways. But I love, Matt. I just got to give you your props, man. I love the idea of R-Truth coming out to Cena's music, whole blow up thing. I don't even want the what's up now. I want that. I want him to come out to John Cena's intro and like do all John Cena things all the way to the ring. Cena's just looks with disgust. Ugh,
The fans would eat it up too, and then
oh yeah.
and Michael Cole and Pat McAfee's reaction. I think that's going to be them in the booth along with, I don't know if Wade, but whoever. If the announcers play with it right too, it'll be fun if they do that. And if
I just
if R-Truth comes out as John Cena Saturday night, you're gonna hear a holy shit yell all the way from the panhandle of Western Florida up to Maryland.
but here's the thing. Like, if we're looking for that John Cena ass beating, that adds to it, right? Because now you just suck the whole. It's the Dave Chappelle, gotcha, bitch. Like, there's no way around it. Because if he does that to come out to Cena's music, if R-Truth comes out to Cena's intro and does out Cena, like, the crowd's gonna eat him up. And then when Cena just obliterates his ass, all that goodwill, everybody's loving them some R-Truth. All that goodwill goes away. And like, it really helps Cena sell as a heel. he really has got to channel like some really narcissistic crap.
Yeah,
Right.
no, he has to. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be entertaining. And
I
I
hope
swear to
so.
God that you and I were sitting down at one point. We were talking about opponents, and I said, "You think they'll have like R-Truth and Cena?" We're both like, "No, that's crazy," because he's only got X amount of appearances. He's not going to have it with R-Truth. And here we are, like not even 2 months later. And what's the title match on Saturday night's main event? John Cena and R-Truth. And guess what? We're excited about it because we know it's going to be good. But we never thought of.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Like, and it's kind of funny. So, like on the surface, and I think part of the problem is that like we saw it as our truth more so as the our truth, the daily guy that we see on the shows, and we didn't think about the connection between our truth and John Cena, and which there is a legitimate connection there. So I think, man, I would love, man, I hope they do that intro thing. Matt, I'm gonna shoot you props. Like you're just gonna have fireworks blown up your phone if they do that shit. Because like I think it would be epic. Like just have him out Cena. Like I'm trying to remind you who you are, dog. I could see it. Like it'd be
Yeah,
perfect.
and don't forget we got a SmackDown the night before, so I'm
Yeah.
sure there might be some more to the story before we get to Saturday night. So
Our truth and John Cena
the
face to
face.
face.
Oh, the contract signing. They got to do the contract signing.
Yeah, because that always goes well.
Yeah,
All right,
tables,
so we got.
things get broken, people get hurt. Yeah.
They say mean nasty things. So we got Logan Paul and Jey Uso. So here's the deal. I think Uso goes over. I think honestly, I think Uso holds on to his title at least until close to SummerSlam. Um, does he need the title? No, but we gotta kind of have a real title because all those a-holes that are just hating on him, they hate on him, are just gonna be like, haha, told you, he's such a poser, blah blah blah. Like, I don't want that shit. And he shouldn't lose it to Logan Paul because, like, say what you will about Logan Paul, I think that there's a little bit of the Austin Theory ish, what we were talking about earlier with Logan Paul. I understand he's the exception, but I need to see him kind of grind it out a
Yeah.
little bit. That's what that's what I really want to see from Logan Paul is like I want to see Logan Paul on the grind a little bit to get to where he needs to be. If you show me Logan Paul grinding it out to get into title contention, then I will buy Logan Paul winning the title. I think Jay has got some more work to do. I think Jay's story obviously ties in with CM Punk and Sami Zayn, and
He's
then
got
Seth Rollins
Gunther's
eventually.
stuff still left on the table, and I think he's doing a good job as world champion. I think
He is.
I mean, he's not a ring technician, but I think the whole package as a character. I think he's a more than adequate wrestler. He's actually expanded his repertoire lately, adding different things.
He's getting
He's
better, and
growing,
he's
yeah,
getting better on the mic too. It's kind of fun to
yeah.
watch.
So is I if you give him a 2 month reign, do we really get to see what Jay could do with the title? So I'm not saying we have to go a year, but 4 or 5, you get add another 3 months onto that 2 months, give him almost half a year, which will bring him right around SummerSlam. I think that's a decent length of reign and it gives us some time to breathe with it. And if Jay loses, doesn't mean he's never going to win another world title, like he still can. But uh, Jay's just hot. This main event, I think, is going to be. I think it'll be good. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's gonna be like as crazy as some of Logan Paul's other stuff, just because of the styles that both of them have. But I think it'll be a really entertaining match. We were talking about possibilities of what could happen in that main event. One person we haven't talked about that could be a factor in that main event on Saturday night could be Gunther. Not maybe not directly, but indirectly. I think he'll be there. He
I don't think so because here's the problem: like the Gunther character in and of itself, you can't talk about respecting the ring and then come in and get interfere with.
well,
Like
he's done it before though. Yeah,
Even when Imperium was a thing, like he'd send his cronies out to do shit, but he really never. Like once in a great while he would, But like normally, like with Gunther, like it was the cronies that would do it. So he doesn't have cronies anymore. He's kind of on his own.
I
So
think he'd be out there and not directly interfere, but he could just establish a presence. Like I'm watching this, like he's scouting the match. That's what I'm saying. And then after the match, after Jay wins, then Gunther attacks him and chokes him out or does whatever. They can start their stuff back up.
I think Jay's story is more. I think Gunther will be his next opponent.
Yes.
I do think that there's a real possibility Gunther could take the belt off of him. I think that if he did that, would we all be shocked?
No.
No. I think that, I think with them meeting at Money in the Bank, I think that kind of it depends on what Sammy and CM Punk are doing at Money in the Bank too, right? Like who's in the men's match for the suitcase. That will really drive what I think is happening. But I think right now, looking at it, I think it's a three-person story against Seth Brown and Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman's just the extra guy. So I think there's some story there that's got to kind of get hashed out. And I think that I I don't know. I could see him losing to Gunther. I don't think he loses to Paul.
No, I don't either.
I I think I think the end of that is really gonna reveal who player number three is for the Seth Rollins side. But I think it'll be a good match. Logan Paul's gonna give you a spot fest. Jay's gonna give you the excitement. Um, it's going to be fun because we haven't really seen him in this kind of match, right? We haven't seen him with the agile wrestler. We've seen him more with the strength guy. We haven't seen him with the agile guy as much.
Well, I think what a
So
lot of people forget though, when he and Jimmy were a tag team, they did all sorts of aerial stuff. So they were not a ground and pound team. They were all over the place.
I'm not saying that they're ground and pound, but I'm just saying like seeing that dynamic as a singles wrestler doing his own thing. And, this is going to be a big thing for Jay. Like if Jay goes out and has a good match with Logan Paul, then we're going to be okay, you know. But the payoff is Gunther. It has to be. It has to be. And then I don't know what the score is between those two, but the payoff has to be Gunther. And it
Gunther's up 3-1. Because remember, Jay had lost 3 times straight until WrestleMania, and then he beat Gunther at WrestleMania, and they haven't touched since.
fair enough. So it's probably a J. But we'll worry about that when Money in the Bank comes around because that's just going to be all sorts of podcast time.
When worlds
Worlds
collide.
collide, worlds collide, Money in the Bank, a little of this, a little of that, Batman's head on a lance, a little bit of everything. So, you got anything else for Saturday night's main event, Matt?
No, I just don't forget Jesse Ventura is going to be there, and I love Jesse the Body. So,
Why, it's the ref. It's the ref.
oh, he called the man who calls it as he sees it.
I know. I love it. I love it. It's so
It
different,
is.
and I love listening to him on commentary. I was like, leave him in.
Yeah, no, he's
Just let him
through
do
the
him.
whole show. Sorry, my mosquito thing went out on me. There we go. Yeah.
So, all right. So we're gonna wrap up this episode. The big thing I do want to say though is, for those who lost somebody, in the global war on terror or whatever war it was. It's obviously Memorial Day this weekend. It's a big weekend. Matt and I are both veterans, so we send all our love to you for this Memorial Day, and we're thinking of you as always. So happy Memorial Day to everybody, and to those who've fallen, we respect you.
Couldn't say it better than what you said, Sean. Yeah, it's very reverent, solemn day. So, with all your fun this weekend, Sean and I, we're like kids in a candy shop because we got wrestling Saturday night, and then Sunday is like the holy trinity of auto races. So, but make sure take some time, reflect on those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country, and also please like and subscribe to our videos. And we're on all the major platforms, so please check us out. And that's all I have. And back to you, Sean. We'll see you next week.
One admin note that I forgot to put out there. So Matt and I discussed our regular pods are going to drop on Wednesdays now, not Tuesdays, just because of the way the conflicts are happening, and we want to have a happy Hump Day with y'all. And then
Hump day.
we also think it's good that way we get to dwell on a little bit of everything that happened, and then we get to ramp right up going into the following week. It's a perfect day to talk about wrestling, as is every day.
Yes.
But anyways. I hope everyone has a good, happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
Eat some great food, drink some great booze, and have a great summer. Let's kick off summer good. Everybody be safe. Love you all. We're out.
Much love.